Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to A Woman's Heart, where we uplift, motivate, encourage, and empower women. I am so happy that you're here. Make sure you follow us on all our social media outlets. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, TikTok. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take somebody with you. Check out the website, toawomansheart.com. And if you are a woman who has a business, then slide on over to toawomansheart.org, brand your business, network, share life moments. And yeah, I would appreciate it so much. All right. So listen, want to have a conversation, and I titled this, Let's Talk About It. Because there's so many things going on in the world, and a lot of different conversations are going on. And you hear a lot of things, and um, life for some has expired, and a lot of people are dealing with a lot of pressures from that. We know suicide rate is high, depression, mental illness, and all these things are up. Um, and so I felt like I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor, none of the sort, but what I want us to understand, I was looking at a video. I always stroll through a lot of things, and I was looking at a video, and I think it was his name is AJ Harris, and something happened to him in the house, and he fell and hit his head, and he hesitated on going to the doctor. Well, when he finally went to the doctor because he still wasn't feeling his best, the doctor said, there was potential that he could have lost his life. And so as he was talking, he was mentioning about how the two boys he had taken in did not know where none of his documents was, or his insurance policies, or none of that. And I was sitting there thinking how we, as mothers, wives, husbands, fathers, aunts, grandmothers, don't have our stuff laid out. We don't have our stuff planned out of what we need to share, with those who need to know this information, and neither do they know how to find this information. That was one thing when I said let's talk about it, because it seems like in our community a lot of things are taboo, and we don't want to talk about a lot of things, but some things are necessary for us to talk about. And so there are women who left here and their kids was clueless. We haven't provided them any instruction. We haven't provided them any guidance. And that is some things that we need to really think about, because tomorrow is not promised. The next second is not promised to anybody. And it's something we need to look at. We need to look at how we house our important documents. They are not in fireproof containers, like insurance policy, bank information, birth certificates, social security cards. Those are things that we need to really look at putting it in a place that is very secure. So if a fire should break out, that the important papers that we really need, that will cause us to be frustrated trying to get them again, and some papers are not easy as replace as others, we need to put those things in a place that they're safe, safekeeping, they can be protected. And so I urge you to look into a fire protection container that you put all your important documents, your insurance, your banking, your social security card, whatever it is, your birth certificate, things that's important documents. So if something was to happen, you can grab that container and out the door. But if you're not able to grab the container, it's fireproof. So you can have it where your documents are secure, because a spark can cause you to lose a lot of things in one spark. It only takes a spark, and you can lose quite a bit of things in one spark. So let's be conscious of that. So that's why I'm saying, let us talk about these different things. And then here is something else that we as a race of people really need to talk about: insurance. A lot of us, and I know when we get in financial stresses and strains, the first thing that we terminate is our insurance policy. Been on that road, done it myself, have done it. But we need to look at making sure that our insurance is paid. If we don't do no pay for final expense, do that, because nothing breaks my heart the most to have somebody put up a GoFundMe account where you got to raise money from somebody who has passed on, or you're passing a cup, or you're calling family members and asking them to donate a certain amount of money to cover the cost of a funeral. And we understand, in a society that we live in, our government has made it pretty difficult for some things which we call pre-existing conditions, that diabetes, heart problems, cancer, and all this stuff. It makes it difficult for some of us to attain insurance. But even in that, there are companies out here who can provide you with final expenses without doing a medical background. We just need to ask the correct questions. We just need to network and find that information. And if that's some information that you really need, then send me an email and I can help you with that, so we can make sure that everybody is covered. There is no sense in a mother, especially a single mother who has about 3 or 4 kids. She don't have insurance, and then her kids don't have insurance neither. And that is so important that we make sure that we protect ourselves in this kind of environment that we live in, with so many things going on, so much sickness, so many stray bullets that's coming through. We're not protected and we're not covered. And irregardless to how old you may be, it's a good thing for you to make sure that you are covered with insurance. I mean, let's be realistic here. Um, that's another thing. Here is something else we need to talk about: teaching our kids how to save money, how to set themselves up for greatness further along in life. And I say that because for those who are back in the day, the baby boomers, as they call us, we didn't learn a lot of stuff. Let's be honest with stuff I'm learning now. I wish I would have knew back then I could have used that to apply it to my present life, and I probably would be much better off. So when we learn better, we should do better. And when we learn different things, we should be in a position where we want to share to help somebody else. Does that make sense? Okay, so what we should be doing as adults, if we have kids, if we have taken on our nieces and our nephews, is to train them how to be able to sustain themselves, not just now, but later on in life, to set themselves up so they won't have to struggle. Because as we all know, it's been said over and over again, Social Security potentially could run out. We know that, right? So if we know that, what are we doing to prepare for that? And we already know that the pandemic has put a big dent in everybody finances, and a lot of people are still trying to recover from it. A lot of people are still not working. Unemployment has been cut off. People are robbing Peter to pay Paul, Jane, John, Bill, Bob, and Sally Sue. So everybody's taking their monies and they're mixing, trying to make their ends meet, and some of the ends are not even touching. They're just here, they're not even touching. And so if we can get our children in a position that they can understand the means of saving, the means of investing in mutual funds and annuities, and getting insurance policy that would provide them sustainability. Because again, me and my niece had this conversation earlier today. Life is too short. And we need to learn how to live life to the fullest, but be educated as we're living our life to the fullest. You follow? Did that make sense? Okay, so we talk about putting our documents in a secure, fireproof container. So if something potentially could happen, that the things that we need the most and potentially we won't find again, we are protecting those documents. And then we talked about making sure that we are putting ourselves in a position to be financially stable. Now, all the time your plans don't work, and I understand that things happening, emergency rising, but at least we can make our best effort to do what we need to do as it relates to us. That's the most important thing we can do. And then I want to say, we need to learn how to live life to the fullest. We really do. A lot of things that we take on, a lot of things that we hold on to, we need to let it go. Some of the stuff we hold on to is so petty that we just should let it go. Life is too short. And every day that we open our eyes and place our foot on the floor, we should understand how short life is. Are we going to be perfect individuals? No. Are we going to do things the right way all the time? No, we're not. We're human beings. We're going to make a mistake. The key is to learn from the mistake that you made. And the key, the biggest key is staying true to yourself and true to who you are. You can't be anybody else. You can't walk anybody's shoes. You can't live anybody else's life. It's not yours to live. The life that you was given, that you're living now, is your life that God chose you to live. Now, how you live it makes the difference. But that's your role. That's your destiny. And that's your life. Can't nobody live your life. And a lot of stuff that you see on social media, people taking on, what somebody said, and talking about you, how you living. Nobody knows your struggles. Nobody know your stresses. Nobody know your straps and your strain. They don't. So let us be conscious and let us be aware of not taking on and wearing what others say we are not. We can't worry about that. If we continue to hold on to everything that somebody says or done to us, we're going to worry ourselves into an early grave. Bottom line, you can only do what you can do with what you have to do it with. You can't do no more than that. So get you a plan together that's workable for you, and try to figure it out to the best of your ability. That's all you can do. That's it. And a lot of us, we had this conversation before. Social media is not the place to put your business out there, but some of us seem like it's important to air our dirty laundry on social media, and I don't understand why. Because how does it help the situation if you air your dirty laundry on social media? That's not the place for that. It's not. Our purpose and our goal in life is to learn from everything we've been through. Now that should be our motivation. We already know we're flawed. We already know we're not perfect. And we already know we're going to make mistakes. But some of us, I've said this in a TikTok thing, we beat ourselves down so bad for the mistakes we made. Give yourself permission to forgive yourself. Let it go and move on. Give yourself permission to let go what others have done to you and move on. The Bible said, vengeance is mine, said the Lord, I will repay. God can repay them better than you can. We can't hold on to what people has done to us. We got enough of our own personal things to deal with without taking on what others have done and try to place it in a bucket or find a place to sit it in. Why would you need to find a place? Either you're going to forgive them or you're not. Either you're going to let it go or you're not going to let it go. But I'm telling you all this stuff because truly we need to get our house in order. We really need to get our house in order. We really need to pay attention to the handwriting on the wall that life is truly too short. It is too short for the foolishness and the nonsense. We need to step up to the plate. Run yourself a list, do whatever you need to do as relates to you to get you to the point where you need to be so you become a better, healthier, whole person for yourself, not for nobody else. Because we have to know when we change for ourselves, that is a workable change. But when we changing for somebody else, that's a temporary change. That's not going to last a long time because you're doing it for somebody else. You're not doing it genuinely for you. So whatever you do, you have to do it genuinely for you and not anybody else. Because it's to help you to be better, to live a better life. Again, life is not perfect. It's life lessons lived and learned. So everything, if you make a mistake, figure out what the mistake was, learn the lesson and move on. But don't hold on to it. If somebody said they don't want to be bothered, say it's okay. Be okay with that and move on. If somebody has hurt your feelings and done you wrong, tell them how they did it. Get it off your chest. Move on. Let it go. Why are you holding on to it? The situation has happened. It's not going to change. Period. And if You have done somebody wrong and you feel like you owe them an apology, then apologize and move on. But a lot of us, when we feel like we owe people an apology and we feel like we determine that the apology is not sincere, and sometimes it may not be sincere, but you have to acknowledge that they did make the effort to apologize. And that's all required. So now when they do that and they apologize to you, now do you realize when they apologize to you, now the ownership flips to you. It's no longer on them. Now that's on you because they took the time to apologize. Now, whether you accept it or not, that's up to you. But they done what they was required to do. You said that they hurt your feeling and they apologized. Come on, life is too short. This is what this conversation is all about. And we need to talk about this. We hold on, we hoard things, and we don't address things. And some of us go to our grave with things that we should have let go a long time ago. Relationships that didn't work. We're still blaming ourselves for relationship that didn't work without you realizing that it's two people that's in a relationship. So it takes two people to make the relationship. You can't make the relationship by yourself. It takes two people, two willing people to be exact. But let me tell you this, and we all heard this before. Broken people can't fix broken people. So if you go in a relationship and you're broken and the person you're in a relationship, they're broken, but you ain't healed your brokenness, but you're trying to fix their brokenness and you ain't healed your brokenness. Matter of fact, you ain't even acknowledged the brokenness that you're walking around with. So how can you be a healthy part of the relationship when both of y'all is unhealthy in the relationship? One person trying to fix another broke person. How does that work? If you let me give you an analogy. So you got a kitchen table. If the leg on the right is broken, the leg on the left is broke, you trying to glue the leg on the right and he trying to glue the leg on the left, it's still a broke table. It's still broke legs. The only thing you can do is replace the table or take it to a professional to have the legs fixed. But you can't fix that. That leg on that table can't go across to the other leg on the other table and say, look, I'll hold my piece over here. Can you hold your piece over there? That's not how that works. So we expect people to be at a certain standard, a certain position that we are not in that certain standard or position ourselves. So how do you expect somebody to reach something that you ain't even reached yourself? That don't even make sense. So your expectation for somebody else, and then you want them to reach it or even read your mind or understand what you're going through, and you have not verbalized not one thing. And the first thing you can have to do for yourself is acknowledge your brokenness, your hurt, things that need to be mended, and all that good stuff. But we don't want to acknowledge it. The most we like to do is take our fingers and point at somebody else without realizing when we point our fingers at somebody else, a bunch of fingers are pointing back at us. Bottom line, the next thing that we don't want to deal with or talk about is being supportive to one another. We as women should learn how to be more supportive, more encouraging, more motivated. It's just like, why do you have to constantly push, constantly ask people to support, constantly to ask people to help out? If you see there is a need, then do it. Then do it. You never, and you're doing something for somebody else, you never know what it will do for you down the line. Because just like that person is at that point, potentially you can be at that point down the line. And somebody may need to help you, but you don't help nobody else. It's just like this. And this is probably a very good scenario. Say there's a death in the family, right? And say you have been the person that's been going to somebody pass away, you go to anybody and everybody's for you, just support it. You that kind of person. When you say something, somebody has a transition, you're right there, you supporting. What can I do? Can I make some phone calls? I'll bring you some food. What do you need me to do? I'll run some errands. I'll do whatever you need me to do. But say the other person is the person that don't support nobody in nothing. Not nothing. I don't care what is birthday party, somebody transition, anniversary, whatever it may be. Just if somebody gets sick and you just need that person to be supportive and that person is not supportive at all, right? And then something happens on their side of the family. Now their expectation, they want everybody to show up for them when they never showed up for anybody else. How many people you know is like that? And that's what you call selfish mentality. When you don't show up for nobody, but you want everybody to show up for you. How does that work? That's not fair. That's totally not fair. So how do you want people to show up for you and you don't show up for nobody else? We have to think about that. We always want somebody to give to our children and we never support anybody else's kids. That don't work. You can't expect somebody to give to you all the time and you don't give back in return. And not saying that it's a requirement, but it's common courtesy. It's common courtesy. And I think some etiquettes we have totally forgotten about. If you're gonna do something for somebody, there's no need for you talking about what you're gonna do. If you that means you're doing it for the wrong reason. If you're genuinely gonna help somebody, then genuinely help them. You don't have to brag about what you did. You don't have to make a public service announcement about what you did. If you genuinely going to help somebody, then just help them. You know, like they just say in church, you get a sanctified handshake when you know somebody in church has a need. You fold up a little money in your palm of your hand and you give that sanctified handshake. Nobody has to know. You don't have to pull them to the side or give them a card or none of that. Just be discreet about what you want to do. These are some things that is important. I think we forgot about the basics. We forgot about the basics of just being kind and caring to and understanding to one another. It has totally went by the wayside, and I'm trying to understand why. I said this in a post. If every woman would support at least 5 businesses, do you know the impact we could make? And I'm not just talking about me because I have a business that I'm building. I'm talking about in general. You know, the Bible talks about it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. But a lot of us want to be on the receiving end and we don't want to give anything. Not nothing whatsoever. And it leads me to question, how can you think like that? How can you be like that? And how can you live like that? We are so selfish in a whole lot of areas. And soon as something happened in our lives, we expect others to run to our rescue when we're not willing to rescue anybody. We don't have a kind word. We don't have a good word. We don't have a it's okay. We don't have it's going to be better. We don't have just letting somebody just vent to us. We get an attitude when somebody call our phone or text us and say, well, I need to talk to you. And the first thing we say, here we go again. Why she texting me? I don't want to hear it. Should be over it by now. But her venting to you can be the very thing that keeps her from taking her life. Do we ever think about these things before we have a reaction? Do we ever think about how the person is feeling when they're standing in the shoes, in the struggle, and in the eye of the storm? Do we ever think about that? I don't think we really think about it. We think because people smile and they laugh and they grin, everything is hunky dory all the time, and it's not. Some people laugh so much to keep from crying because the pressures of life have become too hectic and too heavy. And we don't understand that. We don't get it. So she's always laughing. That don't mean nothing because she's always laughing. People laugh to cover up. People laugh to keep it together. People laugh to keep from falling apart. We always think because we see people, we assume we know what they're thinking and how they feel. And we need to get out of that mindset because we don't know what nobody's thinking and we don't know how nobody's feeling. You don't know how they day went before they got to you. You don't know what phone call they got. You don't know what pink slip they got. You don't know if somebody has got into their account identity theft and took all their money. You don't know if a loss of a loved one has transpired. You don't know that. We are so quick to assume and analyze what we see and what we think we know to be true. That's not. You don't know unless somebody actually physically tell you what they're dealing with. You won't know. So let us not be so assumptuous with thinking that we know how people feel and where they are at in life, because you don't know that. Period. So when I say let's talk about it, let's talk about it. Let us be better as being women. Let us have more respect for ourselves and others. Let us carry ourselves differently. Let us do that. Let us think of others more than we think of ourselves. Bottom line. Because when you think of somebody else more than you think of yourself, you don't know what God can do for you. You don't. We cry to him for everything. Lord, help me, help me, help me, help me. And you won't help nobody else. So then I ask you the question, you want God to help you, but you won't help nobody else. How does that work? Please explain to me. How does that work? Some of us women are so broke down and so discombobulated because he walked out or he walked away, he cheated on us. If he walked away, then say, okay, will it hurt? Yes. Will you be in shock? Potentially. Will you understand all the time? No, you won't. Get your cry, get your scream, and don't blame yourself. Figure out what you need to do for yourself. Figure out how to get your feet back on solid ground and keep it moving. Now, if you decide to come back, y'all have comments and get back together, that's on you. But don't let your life fall apart because somebody walk away. There was a saying, sometimes we hold on to things so tight that God is trying to tear from our hands because it's not good for us. It's not beneficial for us. So learn how to get the release. Do the release. If you prayed and asked God for direction and he's shown you whether you want to hear it or not, to let it go, then let it go. Is it going to be easy? No. Are you going to reflect? Yes. But don't hold all the blame because, again, as I said before, it takes two people to make a relationship. Two, not one. It takes two people to make a relationship. You got to know what you want. You got to know your expectations. You got to know what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate. Period. Think more of yourself. Love yourself enough to not settle for less than what you're worth. Bottom line, it's not that serious. Okay? Some conversations we just need to have. Raw conversation, put it out on the table, discuss it, and talk about it. Because a lot of us women is walking around with all this stuff on our shoulders. We're embarrassed about it. I say don't be embarrassed because we all got an embarrassing moment. No, you're not alone. We all got an embarrassing moment. We all got something that we don't want nobody else to know about. We all got some of that. So don't feel bad about it. But what I say to you, to help you get to where you need to be, get you a good person that's going to be accountable with you and for you, that's going to help you stay grounded and keep your eyes focused on where you need to be. And everybody you can't trust to do that. So you need to wean out the snakes, wing out the associates, and find you some true, diehard, trustworthy sisters who's going to be honest and going to go through the storm, walk through the quicksand, ride the roller coaster ride, slide down the mountain into the deepest part of the valley with you. That's what you need. But then we have to acknowledge and take ownership for us. We need to sit down, do a list, what's your expectations in your life for yourself. You need to mend your brokenness, get yourself whole, release some things, forgive some things, let go of a lot of things so we can be much better than what we were. Let's learn how to be more giving. Let's learn how to be more understanding, more compassionate. And again, get your life in order. Get your finances in order. Teach your kids how to budget. Mothers, you're responsible for this. Teach your daughters to be respectful of themselves and not use their vagina like a revolving door. Teach them about the thing that God designed, marriage. And everybody is not meant to be married, but teach them about walking with respect and being a respectable young lady. Get your insurance policies up to par. Get your paperwork, your wills, and all this up to par. And for any woman who has a business, before you invest too much in the business, get you a trademark, get it copyrighted, protect your hard work. That's what we need to do. Now, this is the raw deal here. On replay, I hope you all understand this. I hope you get it. I hope whoever listens to it, it makes a difference in your life. I hope it causes you to think. I hope it causes you to desire to be better, not for anybody else, but to be better for yourself. And stop doing things to please somebody else and please yourself first. Take some time for you. Be intentional with taking care of yourself. Do that for you. Give yourself permission to forgive yourself and let go and live life and move on. Come from behind that dark room. Come from behind the dark shade. Come behind those dark glasses. Come from behind living a dark life and step into the sunshine and live life to the fullest. You may not have everything you need. You may not even some of the things that you want, but life is too short. So learn how to live it to the fullest and to the best of your ability. Make lemonade out of lemons. That's what you have to do. Work with what you have to get where you need to be. Bottom line. All right? I do thank you all for listening. And I know, I'm not hung up on numbers. Understand when I say this is all about a mission from God. God adds to increase as he see fit. I ask that you share. I ask that you post uplifting things, inspiring things. I ask that you support. I ask you subscribe to the social media outlets. Check out toawomansheart.store. T-shirts speak to the heart of a woman. Like I said, if you have a business, you like to brand your business, network, share life moments, check out toawomansheart.org. And then go over to YouTube and subscribe. I'm doing this because, in trademarking, when you're trademarking your business, they look at all this stuff, which I'm learning. I'm learning as I go. All this social media is very important in your trademarking process, whether you realize it or not. No longer in this kind of environment we live in, you just can pop up a business like you used to. It doesn't work that way. Even with getting grant money, you just can't pop up a business. You have to establish some groundwork in your business. So when you get ready to get these grants, they look at your social media outlet, they look at all your coverage, your websites, what you're presenting, how long you've been doing this stuff. Let's call it what it is. We think that we can just jump up and do stuff. And without checking out, LegalZoom is okay, but let me tell you, trademark is kind of difficult because everything is broke down in classes. And each class, when I started, cost $800 per class. That's not even counting the process for the trademark. So understand, to every woman that's out here on every social media outlet, make sure you cover your business. If you're going to put the effort in to building something that's going to leave a legacy for your family, then make sure you put the effort in to cover what you're building. Bottom line. All right? Again, make sure you share with all our social media outlets. And I'm persistent on all my social media outlets because they watch. And I paid too much money to let them void it out. All right. So hopefully you'll subscribe. Hopefully you'll share. And I thank you for being the best part of To a Woman's Heart. It is a sisterhood. Yes, it is. All right. So until we talk again, you everyone take care and be good. Keep praying. Keep pushing. And let's continue to work on ourselves. Talk soon.